That's pretty good.
Oh, there he is. There he is. How's it going?
Howdy.
You got some hobby on your desk, or what do you got going on?
I do, but I can't see it because I've flicked my lights up so it doesn't blind the camera.
No, you good.
So,
No, you good. Man, these are metal.
because otherwise they're like at camera level, unfortunately. So I'm just going to have to kind of work with limited lighting.
Oh no, you won't know the
Ah,
true color of the models until you go outside again. Yeah, hobby bear
no,
Clint.
I'm like batch planing stuff, so
Yeah,
it's just one color all the time. So
I just want to say, man, you are one of the absolute coolest people I guess digitally met in this in of the TOs and content creators. Um, you
you're
have. Go ahead.
you're talking about a different Clint, right?
No, I'm talking about you specifically. The TO of the biggest Age of Sigmar tournament in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, nothing's happened since to try and top it off. So
Brendan has held on to the American Team Championships title for 3 years because there just hasn't been one since the first one. It's
yeah,
yours until someone rips it away, man.
our current master in the ranking, like for our rankings and tournaments and things like that, I think he's on his third year because we just had to keep
Mm.
kicking it down the road. So
Who is it? Is it one of the Joels?
no, it's Matt Tyrrell. It's the mayor.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. The mayor plays
yeah,
a lot of death. Good dude.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
He's super into Soul Blight and
good,
well Nighthorn, but he's
good,
going to put them up now that Soul Blight's back out.
good. You love to see it, man. I love it when death is relevant. We only ever get one good army is the thing, though. Death only ever gets one good army.
So
It's
like one comes up, and all the others
oh
just
yep,
sort of
yep,
drip down a bit. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
It's
my
the
prediction
way it
is
is.
Night Hunt gets another battle tome and Soulblight just gets wrecked into the ground, just nerfed into oblivion.
Yeah, but then you've had 3 years of Nighthaunt players with
They deserve
a
it.
decidedly average book who probably all those people who picked up the Soul Wars box finally like
Yeah.
yes,
No,
I've
they
got a bent army.
you deserve it. You deserve it. They didn't even get to enjoy like Graveguard or Grimghast Reapers at the height of power because it was just Legions of Nagash looking at their terrible book and like using the best unit from somebody else's book to be great. Which
Yeah,
is the worst offense one can commit in Warhammer in my mind is like your own thing isn't good in your book, but it's so good in somebody else's book that they have to nerf it for you.
yeah, yeah. For every yeah, this is why you can't have medium things like not even nice things, just average things because
But
they're awesome in something else.
no, if other Death armies, if Ossiarch, see Ossiarch Bone Reapers had to pay the tax in turn themselves so that Soul Blight could be great. Like I get it, it's fine. If we pass the torch onto Night Haunt, it'll be long overdue. Night Haunt is one of the, and this isn't Death Homerism. This is me assessing my bias. One of the most aesthetically awesome armies in the entire game.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
just 10 out of
100%.
this is a 10 out of 10. You throw in one monster in there, like just some super gnarly big spooky ghost or like a haunted thing where it's like haunting a terrain piece and that becomes like a fucking monster on the table, like something like that. You know? Like it's got ghosts
Yeah,
and shit
it's
ripping out
good.
of a haunted house and like that thing just like teleports and discorporates around the table and that's its whole shtick. Down and down and down. Like yeah, like go like it's like one great monster away from just really just but it's always been aesthetically one of the coolest looking armies in the game and so it's like come on. We make them great and if other death has to take a back seat while it's great, they've earned it. Again, 2.0 all the people who got in on 2.0 buying that Soul Wars box, right? Every
Mm,
one of
yeah.
them.
My son will be super happy that his like if he gets some really good stuff. So he's got a Nighthorn army. He really loves the way that they look. But is grappling with playing with them because they're
Finicky.
such a
It's
finicky
yeah.
army that kind of leans into certain play styles, and a 12-year-old kid,
Doesn't want
that's
to play that
not
Fibonacci
ideal.
sequence like
Yeah,
Galaxy
that's
Brain
not.
style. Yeah.
And like talking to people like the mayor, and I'm like, righto, let's talk Nighthorn, and he's like, oh, this is how you make that good, and I'm like, he's 12, dude, like he can't remember that.
Well, I had him on for the Night Haunt episode last year during Deathtober or whatever. I did like all the death, like sort of revisited all the death battle tomes, and
Yeah,
he basically he's like this is an MSU army. Everyone's playing it like a horde army, and they're just it's just wrong. He's like, you want to have just line up units of 10 Grimghast Reapers, roll 5 of their charges. You're hoping for one of them to land the wave of terror or whatever. Like, that's how you play
yeah,
this army, and that's hasn't changed in third edition in my mind.
yeah.
You still want like MSU, and I don't think it's as
No.
shot off the table in our metas as it might be in the UK, just because we just play differently here in the US. You've got a couple shooting armies to like look out for, but for the most part, like you've got enough. Your underworld stashing a couple pieces in the underworld, to protect them from that sort of turn one drop and pop. Like you've got game, like you've got some game. The problem is just like once things are on objectives, it's really hard to like just murder the thing, and you don't have a monster which shuts off a bunch of what's going on in Gur right now. It's just you don't have it.
Oh yeah, you don't get to.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
was
you
that
don't get
Soren?
to.
You do have a monster. It's just a Forge World monster.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah,
The Mortal.
yeah. Does it count though? Really?
I thought the good death
It
armies were in
is-
destruction and chaos. Eventually, yes, they are, because everything serves death in the end. Oh, man.
Oh, everything serves Slanesh.
There
Even
it
the
is.
gash.
There it is. Mev, first ever PTG, Slaves to Darkness or OBR? PTG, why am I blanking on what this acronym means?
After glory.
To glory.
Oh man. So Homer, I'd tell you OBR, but the answer is Slaves to Darkness. There's so much fun to be had path to glorying Slaves to Darkness, and there's still a lot of juice in that book that has yet to be squeezed, because everyone fixated on Marauders and they never got to fully enjoy what that book was truly capable of. And when you're talking Path to Glory, which is like a like this leveling, granular by degrees sort of thing where you're exploring and leveling up stuff, it gives you an excuse to go into the uncharted parts of the book. It is like the correct answer is just Slaves to Darkness.
And that's where Path to Glory comes from old school chaos, right? Like
Yep.
that's where the whole concept comes
Yeah.
from. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that slaves would be.
Yeah, I mean it's just the correct answer. I would love to tell you Ossiarch Bone Reapers, but it's just not correct. Give me Knights and Bellicor, dude. Just like give me whatever derpy foot troops I can put on the table. Probably like a pack of Marauders, sure, right? But like I'm not selling out on the Marauder game. I'm going into like crazy like assassin prince, like turning terrain into darkness and like pointing at them with Bellicor and telling them they are not prepared, like fucking Illidan. Like I'm just it's just Deathclock the army, and how is that not the coolest thing ever? Like it's just I'm in another life, as passionate as I am about death, because they're metal and they're super cool. I'm like that, except I'm a chaos player. Like there's an alternate timeline Mephisto who's just like a corn player, or probably Slaves to Darkness. Like I'm the Slaves to Darkness player who was always waiting for them to be great, and they're always just kind of crap, and then suddenly they're great one time, and you're like, yeah! Like it's paid off. Like in an alternate timeline, I am that Mephisto. I didn't know Jared Berthow or whatever the heck his name was, and back in Winona, Minnesota, who like loved corn and was like my first experience with a Grognar that ruined corn for me for like my formative years, and it took me all the way basically until meeting specifically Daddy Ramchek and the Doc to like corn again. Like, it took those two specific individuals as recently as, like, 2 to 3 years ago. Like, because, like, Korn has always seemed like it should be the coolest shit ever. Ooh, Lulu Mall with the Twitch Prime. I love that she just paid us our own Amazon Prime subscription back. Woo! Twitch Prime!
Well have it
It's
as much as
free! Here, take this $2.50 for the thing you spend $100 on a year. We're gaming the system. Suck it, Bezos.
He's gonna miss that $2.50.
That $2.50, he's just like, this son of a bitch has found out a way.
Hey, that's $4 Australian.
If-
That's big. That's big
if-
quality dues.
If I set up 100 Twitch Prime accounts, I could get $250. And then I buy 2 more Twitch Prime accounts. I can't lose.
That's just straight up science. That is.
Yeah. No. No. Like,
I love that's in the Twitch chat rather than just shouted from
her
wall.
shouting no for she's upstairs in bed right now, hungover. Kidding. I love you. Lily had pudding for breakfast. I hope you're not mad at me.
I've never watched a domestic incident happen on Twitch, so there's a first time for everything.
I am not. Not hungover or not in bed upstairs. Ooh, mold line. Disgust. Nope, that's there now. Can't be stopped.
It's just a texture line, right?
Yeah, no, that's a vein of undeadness from his hand to his chest. Didn't see it. Too late. Can't fix this. This is it.
Vince just shuddered, right? You're like, Modeline, keep going.
Yep.
And Vince just got that shudder going. He's like, I don't know what
Like,
happened there.
right, he's like sleeping in today. It's like his one sort of like cheat day to be human because he's an android, and like he's just like laying there and like his eyes rocket open. He just like leans up. A mold line just got painted and like somewhere in the Contento-verse.
A sense of disturbance.
He just like inhales, wakes up, stares around the room, like, oh wait, goes back to bed. No, you like me, you don't handle flattery well. It shows, or it seems, but no, sincerely, the mental health cause and stuff like that, like, early on in some of the stuff I was making, you would DM me. You're one of the ones who listens to it on like Spotify or like whatever podcast app though. You wait for the pure audio. Yeah. Because
you do RantCast
Molly's
like,
over there flipping me off.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Like Friday at like 11 a.m. my time or something like that, which is like I'm at work, so I can't really tune in and watch. So I have to wait for the pleb version to come through on audio.
You do get the best version of my audio though, because that's the only version I actually edit in any real fashion, because I recognize that when you're pure audio, they can't be entertained by my majestic looks, so I have to up the audio game a little bit. So you do get a little bit better.
You just have to imagine it. You're just sitting there at work, developing, just imagining your majestic looks.
There you go. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Factually accurate.
And normally I sort of back a couple up to, because I go through phases. I'll go like audiobooks, podcast. So while I'm doing audiobooks, there's all these podcasts. And so I'll have like a meth day, and it'll just be like 8 hours.
We should all have a meth day.
You have 7, so,
Nice.
7 in a week.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'll have a meth day and just listen to like 2 or 3 of your episodes. Depends how ranty you got. However many I can fit in, to catch up.
Well, like,
yeah,
there's this point in my like week where like I know I have like at one point in the last month absolutely crushed an episode, because then I'll just get like a Clint like DM, and I'll just be like, "This was awesome. This really made me think," and I'm like I did one thing good in the like it's just talking about mental health, like it's such a like I'm not like I talked about earlier, like the noise of people telling you do good once you get to a certain point in content, or for me, like just because like I'm always fighting a bunch of internal voices, so like all the like positive vibes kind of like fall into the background. It's like I said with my family, like yesterday when I got a little too heavy during the Vince block, it's like it feels like they're trapped in here with me in my headspace. So like Molly telling me like, hey, cheer up, it's like, what would you know, you're part of my delusion right now, like how can I, and like some like that, like out of nowhere, like Clint blast, it's just like it cuts through the noise, and like I get that surge again. And so like I just wanted to say, like, just because it comes from like the most outside you could possibly be, which is in the upside down, like you're in a different dimension as far as I can tell. You're from the future. Like I think it's Monday already for you, like insanity. Like
It is not quite Monday. It is 11:30 on Sunday night. Sorry, so yeah, it's not quite Monday. It will be soon.
Is that? Do you say 11:30? Is this parlance? Is this how you say like 11:30? Is this common?
That's
8:30. Like
it's more of an English thing that
Okay.
I've clearly just picked up over the years.
Okay.
I had an English manager for probably 8 years of my working life, so just his expressions crept their way into my vocabulary.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm from the future, so I message you from the future to tell you that the content that you're going to put up later is good. I'm from the dimension where you're really into Slaves to Darkness. See,
there it is. Oh, is that what it is?
I'm from. Oh dear.
No. That's amazing. You're not doing the Heralds of War podcast anymore, though. Like that's kind of been on the back burner just because of busyness in life, right?
We've done a couple of episodes so far this year, and on a new feed, which is a bunch of people struggle to find.
Is that why I've missed it?
Yeah, probably. I do kind of pop it out, like pop the URL out all the time in the feed, but I unfortunately can't get rid of the old one, so that's an issue. But we haven't done something since AOS 3 coming out. Because 2 of the 3 of us haven't played any AOS 3 yet, so can't really comment on something you haven't played. So
yeah, here we go. So first of all, if you just need an absolute spark of joy in your life, you should follow, and you do the Twitter thing. Just follow Clint on Twitter. I'm serious. The spark of joy. The first tweet is just a retweet of me. I'm like.
yeah.
Speaking of self-aggrandizing, yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I thought it might have been me taking the piss out of Rupert Murdoch. That might have been the tweet before that.
50-50, yeah, like.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
So this is Heralds of War, an Australian Age of Sigmar podcast, episode 207. Goodbye AOS 2. I've got it on Anchor here. This is current.
Yeah,
right.
That's our thing. We did a AOS quiz, and to basically say goodbye to 2.0, and we had lots of fun. Where I just quizzed the other 2 on different bits, and they know a lot less than I thought they did. So it was interesting.
So I got, now that it's public, you're here to hear my voice directly and respond in kind with your voice. I am sorry, Manfred. All right. Are we good?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Are we
I'm
good?
wearing my Manfred shirt.
Right on.
In support.
Yeah. I was gonna wear my like Manfred did nothing wrong that you sent me. But I got lazy. I just like Heywoah called me to get out of bed like 2 minutes before my alarm was set. I was trying to steal like 10 minutes. Like I think I had my alarm set for like 6:10 a.m. And he called me at like 6:08 a.m. and I'm like, no, those 2 minutes. So,
Most important 2 minutes of the day.
yeah. So I was like, so I was just like kind of rushing through getting back online. But in an ideal world, I had laid out that shirt and I was gonna wear it this morning. But off to the Spice Mines. Doc, have a fucking great day, man. Speaking of like dudes who are just an absolute spark of joy in your life, so have a good day. Have a good day, Frank. Thanks for helping out with this. Thanks for modding the whole time. But like, yeah, it was yeah. I'm sorry, Manfred. Like, you're still everything I said about you is true. It's just where I end up at the end of the day. I'm sorry.
I just love all these people who now love Manfred now that
because he's good. Yeah,
like,
he's busted.
Good in the game.
Yeah,
it's
no,
like yeah,
I went on record before he was good, though. It was specifically you can attest, perhaps. It was the I read the Broken Realm story, with Manfred like summoning the Chaos Demon, and that was for me the moment where I'm like, oh, Manfred's actually kind of cool. Like he's the arrogant anime bad guy that like is gonna fuck it up, but you kind of love the moxie, you know?
He's totally over the top, destined to fail, but gonna do it sneaky as. He's awesome. That's why I love him. Been beating the Manfred drum for a long time.
Oh,
some people here might not know that.
Snitbag dropped out.
I want to hit the bed.
All right, hit the bed. All right, take care. Thanks for hanging out.
No problem.
Yeah, later, D6. Again, he also streams on Twitch. Hopefully, we got that link out there. He actually paints models, so be sure to follow him. Unlike me.
Well, my Twitter is blowing up, so thanks, guys. My phone's just over in my peripheral going. Brup, brup,
You're welcome.
Lighten up every couple of seconds.
Well, and that's the thing is like is at the end of the day he did like in the end it's I talk about like how you can say the same thing with two different inflections. Like, like Manfred blew up the world that was and made Age of Sigmar. And you can say it in the negative way where you're like, oh, man, but Manfred's the one who blew up the world that was and gave us Age of Sigmar. And then you can be like, Manfred's the one who blew up the world that was and gave us Age of Sigmar. Like, it's the same exact, take. And whether you feel good or bad about it is a matter of perspective. And there's so much in the world that's like that, like where it's just like, go on. Sorry, it looks like you're holding the thought.
I was just I've got an image that I share every now and then. It's taken from the End Times books where Manfred's stabbing Balthazar Gelt through the spine as they're trying to control the thing. Just at the end of the End Times there.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the caption I like to put on it is Manfred bringing us Age of Sigmar circa 2015.
Yeah.
So.
See, I do think that some of the dislike of Manfred is like the world that was explosion thing, like, and then like. But people who we've also been really like kind of enjoying Age of Sigmar for now, 4 years. I guess there are some people who played during the Dark Ages and loved it, but like
that's me.
Empirically beyond contestation, just the game has continued to surge and surge and surge in success and fandom and so on and so forth. And like you kind of got to like, Manfred blew up the world that was, and like, okay. All right, I'll give you that one, But no, for me it was the recognition that like part of the joy of the character is that he's kind of going to screw it up, and like how's he going to screw it up this time, right? Like that. Yeah. There's a joy in that, There's a.
It's that
it's the Starscream, like he is Starscream.
I'm not a Transformers guy. Sorry, that's I know he's a Transformer because I've been told that's what he is. But he's that Saturday morning cartoon villain, the recurring one that just always gets defeated because he's just so sure of himself. Mm-hmm. And but he's going to be back. He'll be back next week for the heroes to destroy or to foil his plan.
Yeah,
and I love it. But he's always been like that. Even in the world that was.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like him because the greatest crime everything I believe about Manfred holds true. I just say it more excitedly now, and then like I like him. Like his greatest crime in the world that was was not being Vlad, and that is still his greatest crime. Like,
yeah, everyone. Vlad was cool. Don't get me wrong.
oh no, are you?
Manfred was cooler.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, see, I can't go all the way. I can't agree with you there. Like,
I didn't ask you
I
to.
take it back.
happy
Like,
that-
I'm good with Manfred now, but I can't meet you all the way, man. I meet you halfway.
Well, it's Manfred's fault that Vlad died, so
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
Yep. And then Conrad, and then
Yeah,
he's
you
just all about playing the long game, right?
Yeah. Well, Conrad was gonna get himself killed one way or another. That was like kind of the whole. Like he was destined to like lose gloriously, but in like the
Yeah.
most over. Yeah. So.
But Manfred just pushed him.
Yep. He just made him snap,
That's-
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
No,
I
watching everyone pretend like they've liked Manfred the whole time has got to be a joy for you, though. Like, just an absolute pleasure as they realize that he's like absurdly good.
as I look up on my shelf at my 4 different Manfreds that I have, and I'm just about to, I'm going to paint some more for my Soul Blight.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah. In fact, one of my Soul Blight army concept is called Too Many Manfreds, because I have. Sorry, I didn't notice you were drinking at the time.
No, it's good. No. Almost spit coffee.
Um,
People think I'm being when I say I just spit my coffee, like as a reaction to something on Twitter I see, or like no. Chances are I was actually like thumbing through and that what just happened there, like. I had to stop myself from. That's what. No, I do say LOL to cover up my inner hurt a lot, but like, or flag something as a joke that doesn't read obviously as a joke. I say LOL to show it's lighthearted, but like, I say LMAO if I actually laughed. This is internet culture, and if I say I spit my coffee, yeah. If I say I just spit my coffee, I really did just like do that, like just like a quick like almost choked on it and had to like hold my face over my cup. Yeah, so that was good. My absolute favorite thing about Nagash. Hang on one second. You were talking about Oops All Manfred. You can tell everyone about Oops All Manfred, and I'll be right back.
Too many Manfreds.
Yeah.
So I have the old school one on foot, and the old so from like 7th, the metal ones, and the one on horse that you don't use anymore. So I bought a Belladama specifically to get her rock. And then the little wolf. And so I'm going to put my horse one on the rock. And so here's my Belladama. Got the Mortark one, the standard one. And then I've got the one on foot, who's just going to be a vampire. So I'm going to have like 3 or 4 Manfreds in this army that are just, they're all like proxying as different things, but
yeah.
I've gone and spent the money to like, buying Belladama just to use her rock, so I can put Manfred on it. Like,
he's got to be
not cheated. That's not cheaping out. That's making sure that the model's profile is pretty good and doing the right thing there.
So he's. So I'm gonna have to rebase him because Vlazas are on or Vampire Lords on foot are on bigger basis, I believe. But Chaos Lord Mars sent me this gem, which is Vlad metal.
Oh yeah.
And so I have an army. I've got a mini from Soren. I've got a mini from Travis. I've got like a mini from Chuck Moore. Like I've got a few minis, and I want to make an army that like features all of them as like little like either little proxies or like unit champions inside of it. And so like that's my like long-term goal is to have this army that's this eclectic little and Death works perfect for this, right? This is why Death is like just an awesome hobby army because you really can be like it's undead now and like just paint it a certain way and like add some like texture paint to give it some like bubbly exploding off necrotic flesh and Snitbag dropping 1,000 RP to remind everyone chat gang ain't nothing to mess with. Go on.
In fact, my favorite Lumineth model, which is the dude who steals the objectives. What's he called? Lawseeker. I bought one of those because I really liked the model, and then converted him into a vampire.
See,
Because everything can be dead.
Everything can be dead. Exactly. Like, it's a little bit of a meme, like everything serves like Nagash in the end, everything serves death in the end, blah blah blah. But like it's one of the like it's I was just having this conversation with Sean B or Sean Zor, who's been donating throughout and been part of Chat Gang here. Like he's been talking about his like hobby passion and like how with death there's just so many ideas to like inspire you, and so like it's just so like the possibilities are endless because you really can. Or you look at GDead kind of went the opposite direction with his like Mega Gargants, as he just made a bunch of like Mega Frankenstein monsters, right? But it's really easy to like to make something undead. I don't know. So I wanted to show this off before we bury it too quick. So here are Manfred's arms. Well, his beast arms. And here's the Manfred as I got him in the box of death a million years ago. He's got a nice layer of dust on him, you can see. That is not Zenithal highlighting. That is dust. And then he's got this little tinsel of cobweb on him. So I've had a Manfred model. I've just never painted or played him. Well, no, I've played him. But I've played my Archon. So
yeah,
but
you're well on your road to having multiple Manfreds, which
Yeah.
is the way.
yeah. I just have to take Archon off of his mount and put a Manfred on it, and we're good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here is the ultimate hot take. I prefer Neferata to all of them.
You're not wrong. I mean, maybe like Vlad, like in chat here, the Lord Will is like I did not even play Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and I like Vlad. This is truth. Like what Lord Will has said there, because Vlad has, I think, the best story arc of basically any character in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And you can at me at MR_MEPH on Twitter. You're wrong though. He has the best plot. But
He has
Neferata,
a fantastic story, yeah.
like just a story arc, it's very complete. Like the hatred of the Empire, like sort of at the origin of his existence, and he just kind of progresses all the way to the arc where he like eventually like has character growth, helps the Empire in the end times, dies for the love of his life. Like just an amazing like sort of like arc of pseudo redemption. Like he's like a little bit of a Prince Zuko in that respect, where like he is a bad guy, and then just but he's a bad guy that you kind of understand, and then as the arc progresses, like he kind of lets go of his just like malice and just becomes a like the ultimate self-sacrificing like badass in the end. But that all said, Neferata is overall the coolest of the vampires. That isn't the new range of vampires. We don't really have like a bunch of fluff and lore on them yet. So, like, it's, our mind filling in the headcanon and the little morsels of story. Like, I've got time to find out that Radiker or Belladama are the coolest vampires. But as it stands right now, as of my reading, Neferata is the coolest. So, like, there's a difference between, like, the coolest and, best and just having the best arc. Part of the thing that makes Neferata so great is, like, she's still doing it. She's still kicking ass, like all the way from back in Nehakara and like all the way forward or whatever, like she is still rocking it.
That surprises me, WSorran, because your name is literally from a different bloodline. So,
but he'll explain it.
The one that corrupted Neferata.
Yeah, fair enough.
Dr. Darkmatch, this is 100% the correct. This is 100% the correct opinion to have. That's the reason I don't understand why people want Vlad in Age of Sigmar. His storybook had a beginning, middle, and end. It's a complete done deal, and why bring him out for a sequel that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No. He doesn't have any story left to run because he got a complete line.
My line will always be, like, the line I hold is, like, in general, I would rather they make a brand new character than resurrect an old character, as much as I love some of these old characters. Like, who the hell doesn't want the bromance of Krell and, like, and Hemrick or whatever, like, Hemlock, what, they pay on Kemmler, yeah, it's Heinrich Kemmler it's the play on the Nazi scientist, so it's like, yeah, I maybe don't need that character back, but like, But, like, who doesn't kind of, like, secretly want that bromance that was their, like, weird relationship, or Krell to come back in some capacity? Like, yeah, cool. And I get, like, wanting to revisit and relove the things you loved, and I totally get it, I get it. But, like, me given the choice, I would rather have something new made for Age of Sigmar with Age of Sigmar lore than resurrect something from the old lore, even though, you know, it makes sense for Death to be able to do it, it makes sense for Chaos to be able to do it, like, even though I would rather... If they had brought back, like, Abarash, whom I love and still want to see in the game, when Ossiarch Bone Reapers came out, I would have been happy because they paid fan service to me and, like, they catered to me and I love Abarash. But, like, I wouldn't have gotten Catacross, and that would have been the greatest travesty of all time, is for Catacross not to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like being hung up in the past of, like, things that we loved can sometimes stop us from truly enjoying, you know, the present and the possibility of the future. You know, like, possibility is excellent. Well, because he's a freaking dead Chaos Warrior. And, like I can't not have Catacross in my life. Are you kidding me? Even his lore where he's just like he marched to, like, Nagash's door and asked for a job and handed Nagash his resume, and, like, he looked at the resume and he was like, oh yeah, like, total, it says right here, total badass, and, like, that's the only thing it says on the resume, and, like, Nagash just pulls out the stamper, you're hired, Mortark. Like, amazing. Yeah. Like, the swagger that Catacross has is, like, unparalleled by, it's like him and Sigvald have the most swagger of any character in the Mortal Realms, and, like, that's the end of list. Those two. Manfred's got some swagger. Like, he's got some swag. But, like...
I'm a badass, will do as I'm told. That's all he had to say to Nagash, and he was in.
Yeah, total badass, will follow orders. And his towering arrogance is meme level. Yeah, it's so great. Like, it's so... But, like, imagine... Again, like, yeah, I want Abarash. But if I had to choose between Abarash coming back again and getting I would choose Catacross 100 out of 100 times. Nothing can take away the joy I already had with my blood dragons, right? Like, turned blood knights. You know, nothing will ever take away my enjoyment of that. But, like, you know, now I have new enjoyments and new pleasures and new loves.
Yeah, and those don't take away your old ones.
Right.
You still get to have...
Except for Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 robbed me of my enjoyment of Mass Effect 1 and 2, and if you want to see me live stream that, people donated like $4,000... Sorry, it was like $5,500 to be able to make that happen. I don't remember what it was in the... it's actually a good reminder I should check Tiltify. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
They donated lots of money to make you angry.
To
watch you rage.
Just absolutely incited by a video game, which is just, like, not the person I am anymore. It's just not me, man. Holy shnikes. Closing in on $250 basically shy of hitting our secret goals, and then we have to bring out the super secret stretch goals.
Wow.
There might be something called... Like, so we've got the cooking show unlocked. We've got Mephisto in, like, the Rainbow RantCast, where I'm going to be in Rainbow Dash cosplay. Like, I've got, so, like, a couple, like, content-based things. We've unlocked the SJ Arcade White Wine Decant Cast. You know, so drinking white wine, teaching you about some wine, and mapping them to the various, like, you know, some Mortal Realms-y stuff. The entire game, people 3004. Everyone tells me, like, they fixed it. Oh my gosh, you've done it. You're not even GDead, and you've done it. You're about to get a Mass Effect 3 take out of me. Usually, this is a meme. This is one of my channel memes. Is like I try not to do the Mass Effect 3, and if you can essentially, like, trigger the meme, you basically get a secret internet award. You have an internet award now. Congratulations, you're one of, like, 3 people now to have triggered this rant. Like a proper rant. So congratulations, mission accomplished. It's the entire game. Bad guy out of nowhere when they already had the best bad guy in the world in the Elusive Man. Like you just bad guy out of nowhere in the home stretch? What the fuck? Like, get out of here. Like, I'm supposed to buy that Quinn Lay or Lee Quinn or whatever the hell his name is better than my character who for 2 entire, like, game installments of 200 hours each, went through the Mass Effect relay and punched Space God in the mouth with his bare hands, and you just have this one random ass Mary Sue show up, bad guy that I'm supposed to give a flying fuck about? Fuck that, fuck that. Terrible writing. And then, like, so you've got the Elusive Man right there. He's fucking right there. Any scene where Lin Kuei is in it, it could have just been the fucking Elusive Man. Every single one of them. And the game is 100% better. But it starts at the beginning. It starts at the beginning. I'm supposed to believe Commander Eat Rocks and Shit Gunpowder Shepherd sat on his fucking ass in prison for 6 months when the fucking Reapers were at the doorstep. Fuck you! Bullshit! Bullshit! Like, at least with their ham-fisted, like, fucking space Jesus metaphor, they had the decency to fucking kill him at the beginning of Mass Effect 2. Kill him a second time and really bring home the fact that he's space Jesus. Like, he was turns out punching space God in the face, going through the main the main relay, the Omega relay, and punching Space Jesus Reaper God in the face, like, that killed him. So when you start out the first game, he's just fucking dead, and then you play the rest of the crew. There. Even a better game. You want your, like, stupid, dramatic edgelord ending for the sake of being dramatic? Like, kill him at the beginning of the game. Or her. Them. Kill them. Just kill Shepard at the beginning of the game. Doesn't matter. Resurrect them a second time if you really don't care about continuity and narrative arcs, which you clearly don't, because you gave me a Mary Sue bad guy out of freaking nowhere. I started my playthrough as a freaking sniper. My first ever playthrough of Mass Effect 1. I started to play an Adept, then Psi Powers didn't work, so I switched over to Infiltrator. And then my main playthrough is as an Infiltrator, right? Time slows the fuck down so I can shoot people in their big dumb heads. And you're telling me I can't hit an idiot in point-blank range with my frickin' pistol because he just shows up out of... No. The whole game. This is the game where you told me my choices matter in an overarching narrative plot, and at the very, very end of the game, you tell me none of my choices mattered. They were just points on a screen. I saved an entire alien race, and it was only plus 1,000 towards an ending that was... I couldn't tell the difference between because I'm fucking colorblind. Like, I don't know, was it the fucking red or the green beam that shot out of the space dildo? I have no idea. With your freaking literal Deus Ex Machina ending. A actual god from the machine, kid robot hologram shows up to tell you how it all ends. It's horrible. But the gameplay was good, and they gave me a fucking multiplayer game I didn't want. How about instead of developing an entire multiplayer game for a game I played for 200 hours, they gave me a better story? The space, like, he beams up to the space station at the end, and then he meets the god robot, and the god robot's like, push 1 of 3 buttons, and then it changes the world. Okay. Literal Deus Ex. Literal Deus Ex. A actual god robot has you push a button. Horrible. Horrible. Sorry. Yeah, so my problem with Mass Effect 3 is, like, the whole thing.
Yeah, did you get your answer, people 3004? I feel like you got the answer that you probably wanted.
You didn't know you wanted, but
yeah, it's very succinct and to the point.
Yeah, this is not the Mephisto I like to be. So I apologize. If you love Mass Effect, please keep loving Mass Effect. If the ending didn't ruin it for you, if 3 didn't ruin it for you, please love it. It really was. 1 and 2 were, like, absolutely, like, 2 saved me from my World of Warcraft addiction. Like, it saved me. I was very close to being the bad World of Warcraft addict, right? The progression raider, my whole life was that. I was ruining all my relationships. Never hanging out with my friends I lived with at the time because I would raid instead. I jumped guilds off of server with Heywoah to go main tank for a guild on a different server. Like, my best guy IRL that I lived with at the time, I jumped servers to go raid with a different guild, okay? Because they needed a main tank, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I gotta go do that. Like, I was not, like, part of the reason I'm not in Turbo Bus and, like, no one played vanilla with me is because they knew how bad it got for me, and they didn't want to retempt me, now that I have a family and stuff. And, like, good on them, honestly. But, like, so like, Mass Effect 3, like, again, and things don't the whole point of this is, like, things don't retroactively ruin things you love. And, that's why I do the Mass Effect 3 thing the way I do as a performative version of that. Like, there's a sincere dislike of the game in there, but it's, I hope you enjoy my Mass Effect 3 rant, I guess is what I'm saying. If you love it, keep loving it. Don't let me ruin it for you. I'm not trying to convince people that they shouldn't like it. That's never what I do. The era of games having stories is over anyway. It's all looks, multiplayer, and loot boxes. I mean, you're not wrong, Ziggy. It's just live services. Was it a good Jim Stephanie Sterling impression? The live service model. Video games they're not over. It's just AAA games trying to sell you on a story is dead. Go play, play more indie games. Go play Hollow Knight right now. I'll wait. Fantastic story. Super minimalist, though. Like, fantastic. All games where the save file should transfer over and then they don't makes me sad. Yeah. Yeah, Mass Effect 3, all of the above. Someone should clip that for GDead and just send it to him. Yeah, exactly. 9 a.m. 1 hour left to enter. So one $5 donation for Mental Health America, great charity, gets you basically 2 shots at winning one of the 2 shirts I have. So one $5 entry. So-called AAA industry. Yeah, exactly. I love Jim Stephanie Sterling. Fantastic. They're fantastic. And they also told you that Activision was a shit well before it came out that Activision was a shit. So people should just listen to Sterling. I don't know why they don't. But no, I mean, indie games, like, you're usually directly, like, supporting, like, a smaller person there's a fantastic, if you like video games, I'm sorry, we're now to the video game section of the podcast, of the 30 hours. There's a fantastic, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it might actually just be called Indie Game. It was a Netflix documentary. Featured Braid, Super Meat Boy, like, a lot of these, like, the sort of indie game resurgence. Like, at the sort of beginning of what I would call the speedrunning era, the Justin TV, the beginning of the Twitch era, was really where we saw, like, a resurgence of indie games. Xbox Arcade shares actually, honestly, a lot of credit for the resurgence of indie games. But there's this bit in there where the developer, creator, programmer, the person who basically did most of the work on Braid, with the exception of, like, having some friends do the score and paying them and, doing it the right way, right? Where they're talking about how, like, and this is something I thoroughly believe, that when you have a game made by 1,000 people, it can feel really great and it's really fun and all that things. But because it's made by so many people, you lose a sense of, like, the artist and the identity behind the game. When you buy an indie game or something, like a smaller project, or, even like even Insomniac Games' Spider-Man game, which like really did dip into the almost dip into the live service stuff with the MMO fetch quests to keep you playing the game for longer than you should have, and the cosmetics, and it had the skinning of a bunch of AAA stuff. Because Insomniac Games still, for the most part, has a core group of video gamers at the top of the game to the bottom of the game developing it. And I'm about to find out that Insomniac Games sucks in some other way, right? Like, that's going to happen. But for the time being, you could still feel the heart there, even on this, like, sort of cash cow IP. Like, Braid, you feel the heart there. Hollow Knight was made by 3 people. Like, kickstarted just 3 people in a dream. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to downplay, like, they were all industry veterans who all have, like, major gaming credits under their belt, so it's not like it was made by 3 people in their basement. Like, that's not the tell. Like, you go back to the original Doom, the love the original Doom was crafted with 6 people in college, like, all sharing one bedroom, like with just 3 computers around, developing the game in rotations. Like, like there's like the point isn't that like AAA games are inherently horrible and yada yada yada. Like there are horrible aspects to the industry just because big industries like this have a pervasive problem. Um, in but like but the thing I don't want to like hammer too hard on like the good thing bad thing in game industry big broad take. What I do want to say is like when the games are made not by fewer people, but when they have that direct artistry sort of commanding them, they're making them, they're part of the process, you can feel the art and the story and the personal thing. So even though they're imperfect, and this gets back to the video game documentary, even though they're imperfect, the imperfections become features. They become little sharp edges that make it memorable because like you pick up this piece of art and you like roll it around in your hands, this video game that you're interacting with, and you move it around in your hands, and one of the sharp edges pricks you, and you're like, what the heck? And you kind of have to like look at the little bead of blood coming out your fingertip, and you look at this weird object with these rough edges, and you try to wonder about it. Like you remember that. Whereas like you get that AAA game, that is a perfect spheroid of polished down by 1,000 people. And it might be a perfect sphere, like technically perfect in every way, but it's just missing identity. It's like every other perfect sphere out there. They're perfect. They're what spheres should be, but you're missing identity. I haven't played I haven't played Last of Us 2. I want to make my own opinions on it because I really did adore Last of Us 1. Dad of War, I hear was excellent, and I look forward to playing it. It's still sitting over there. It's one of those games I must play. And Ghost of Tsushima, I hear is a masterpiece, and it's also sitting over there, and I must play. So
I've considered buying a PS4 or 5 to play Ghost of Tsushima. So like that's how much I desperately want to play that game.
Every single person I trust tells me it's the best game in existence, and I'm like, I believe you. Go on.
Yeah, it's like, but I think, was it you that shared something a couple of weeks ago about them maybe porting it to PC? And I'm like, maybe I'll wait.
Possibly. Yeah, like all the people who missed, like Bloodborne might be getting a PC port. I'm like, do it. Put it in people's veins. Like, oh.
That's another game I haven't played because I don't.
Good.
We have a Switch. Like my kids have a Switch. If it's not on that, I haven't played it. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff that it all seem to be PlayStation exclusives that I would like to play.
I mean, this is the rough edges is why I posit like Bethesda games, despite being kind of just a mess every single time on a level where like I'm incited by how like messy this one of the biggest game companies in all of existence. How can they make a game so flawed? It's people sit there like laughing at the Macho Man Randy Savage dragon, like ooh yeah, like instead of Fuss Roda, right? Like they just, it's the sharp, it's the rough edges, it's all that crap that makes you love them in spite of themselves. Like Hollow Knight doesn't really have any rough edges because it is like a technical masterpiece of like Metroidvanias. It's just polished to perfection in a certain way, but because it's three people making it, like you feel the identity. I'd posit Undertale is technically perfect for what it was aspiring to be. The rough edges in Undertale is in the like the art is like 2D hand sprite animated stuff, and where you're like this isn't AAA graphics, but
you know what you're signing up for at that point.
Yeah,
like
full. Yeah, no, I mean LucasArts are great. Psychonauts 2 comes out soon. I don't know if it can live up to the hype in my mind. What's that?
Psychonauts. I loved that game. It's all in your mind.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's the problem with nostalgia, right? And these nostalgia traps, selling us the things that we used to love. As I paint a Warhammer mini.
But is it an old school Warhammer mini?
No, Vargeist are new enough.
No.
No.
Yeah.
like is that like feeling of you can never go home again, right? Like you can, like you always try to go back to the innocent time, the sort of mythical thing that you've built up in your mind. Psychonauts is, relevant take here. This thing that you've built up in your mind, and by going back and enjoying something from your youth, you recapture a little bit of that innocent joy that you had in your youth. It's a sincere. I think for the consumer, it's a sincere feeling. You know, I surround myself in memorabilia of things I love or loved in my youth. I bought Clown Nagash. I will strip him and paint him eventually, but I bought Clown Nagash not because I intend to like play him in my army, though he will be my necromancer in one of my armies. But I bought him for he sits there between two of my monitors staring at me because like I look over and I just like like once a day I'm just like Clown Nagash. I'm just like giggling. $80 well worth it for me. The every day I get that laugh, right? That little bit of joy every single day. And I'm not like honking consumerism here. I'm talking about the sincerity with which I feel people do experience nostalgia. How nostalgia is good for our mental health, and it's worthy to love the things you love kind of in spite of yourself. The problem is you gotta know that there's companies out there that know this about you, and they will do anything to sell you back your youth.
That's one of the joys of having kids, though, right? Like, you get to watch them experience all these things for the first time. Like, you never get to do it again.
Yeah.
But you can introduce them to your kids to those things, and you get to watch them experience it for this first time. You kind of like you get secondhand joy from that.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's I talk about like the lens of other people's passion. This is something that's kind of central to like what I believe in life, and it can be a friend. You get to enjoy these things through the lens of other people's passion. I used it in the context of talking about Prince before. Is like a person told me that the person mentioned they'd never listened to Prince before. And I'm like, holy crap! You go listen to Prince, but have one of your friends in your circle who loves Prince be there when you listen to Prince, so that you get the like residual heat from their passion. And kids are just like, they're like a fucking magnifying glass up for that. Like if you want residual passion, residual heat, a kid. Nobody loves something the way a kid loves something. Like I spend hours a day on the radio, TV, thing, whatever, talking about how much I love the things I love. And it's not performative, it's sincere. Like I shoot people straight. Like the dragon thing, I lost my mind and changed my profile picture for one entire day, right? Like I was just so happy to see dragons back in Warhammer. That comes from that, for me, that kidly place where like why did I love fantasy in the first place? I picked up The Hobbit in the second grade because it was the thickest book on the shelf for our book report shelf, because I was like very proud of my literacy. Picked it up, read it. There's a fucking dragon in it. Dragons, and then I like lost my mind. Like that little thing inside me that's like always loved dragons, and
here we are now.
Yeah, full circle. It always does. It's all about dragons. Dragons and Team NT. But yeah, but with kid, why am I doing the Rainbow Dash RantCast this August, I suppose? Because my daughter and my son like My Little Pony. Something I scoffed at and I didn't scoff at it because by that time I was mature enough not to yuck people's yum. But I remember being working around the convention scenes, running the video game rooms and stuff like that with my friends, and seeing the occasional brony and being like, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't no, I'm like Homestuck is a similar thing where I'm not judging you. I'm just like, what is this? Why do people love this? What's all these people with the weird horns? Homestuck. I have no idea. It's just I'm a little too old for that. It wasn't my target demo. I wasn't the target demo. And same thing with My Little Pony is I'm like, what is this? And then like my daughters and my son are just watching it one day on Netflix, and I'm like, this is good. You know, like, and now I have an excuse to watch it because my kids love it. And I'm just like, around the time me and Molly are watching it, like, we've got rid of the kids for the weekend. We're day drinking boxes, like we pick up 2 boxes of wine. We're day drinking and watching My Little Pony. Just us, the adults. You're like, yep, it's legit.
That, yeah, I've watched my fair share of My Little Pony. I've got a daughter, so it's when you catch yourselves watching the kids show when like the kids aren't there.
Oh, Kipo.
Like, oh yeah.
If you have Netflix and you haven't watched Kipo and The Age of the Wonder Beast yet, you've done yourself a disservice. You know, we talked about like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I think is just sort of unequivocally one of the best things in media. It's just it hits every age group. Everyone gets something different from it. It deals with some really tough issues in a way that kids understand. Like it has full-on takes on imperialism. You know, like heavy, lofty stuff to digest. Like, it is essentially anti-imperialist as like a kids thing, like in a way, in a nuanced way that like Star Wars doesn't handle. Right? They have a thing called the Empire. But like they tell you up front, and then the Fire Nation attacked. But then you go through and you watch it, and like none of the militaries are portrayed like positively. And I'm not harshing on militaries, but like they're telling it like kids a story in a nuanced and broad stroke. Like they zoom in on like the Stone Nation, and like the Stone Nation just is trying to defend their land, and that's why they have a military. And there's like all these like really heavy issues. You know, they tackle like the misogyny thing out the gates with what's his name, Sokka or whatever. He's being kind of like a blowhard and like kind of a douchebag, and his sister's just like, yo, like, you're being an idiot. Like, the first thing she does is addresses misogyny, like immediately up front, but not in like a preachy, heavy-handed, like just like, hey, you're being an idiot, bro. And like, I don't know, sorry. I watched Airbender because Zuko was voiced by Rufio from Hook. Dope. Rufio. But yeah, like, again, one of the most like wholesome, you watch this media. Kipo is I don't want to oversell Kipo because it doesn't have the pace Avatar: The Last Airbender has, where you just like you have to watch the next episode. Kipo, you can watch an episode, walk away from for like a week or two, and then come back to it. It's just it doesn't have the pace, so like you're just not as engaged. But the high points and the broad stroke of what is going on, Undertale is like I think of like there's a genre called hope punk. You have to really enunciate the P's, which is this notion that like things, you know, telling people like we kind of live in the dystopian future, you know, if you want to like get all doomy about it, right? Like it kind of feels like we're in the dystopian future we were warned of. And so like the whole like all this media being a punk and warning us about the dystopian future, like Cyberpunk 2077, I can't read as an earnest game because I'm like, oh yeah, corpos and stuff. I'm like they're not telling me about the future, they're telling me about right now. I watch RoboCop. It's now. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
like Kipo and Undertale tell very hopeful stories about a future I would love to see. On this block, we have 45-ish minutes until I do the drawing for the 2 t-shirts. We have, so that'll take us to 10 a.m. when the doctors join us. Then at noon, we get In Your Phase. Get a little West Coast representation going on. And then at 2 p.m., we have re-rolling ones to close out strong. They'll go to 2 to 4. At just after 4 o'clock, I will take some time to do the grand prize drawing, and I want to say a few words, you know, to everyone who's helped me out. So you've got a few hours left. I'm not going to do the math, but we go till 4 p.m., everyone. But no, Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts, there's like a part where like they're singing, I can't play the song. There's so the whole premise is like the apocalypse happened and humanity lives in these bunkers under a little bit of a Gurren Lagann. humanity lives in these like bunkers under the earth because on the surface it's just all these mutants, shorthanded and called mutes in the TV show. All these mutant animals have taken over, and like the animals have become like self-aware and sentient, and like they all live in little like conglomerates. So like there's the mod frogs, and their whole thing is like it's the mod squad, mod frogs. Like so they dress in suits, and they're kind of like the Mafia and like or Yakuza, and like they're really cool. You've got like the wolves who, and one of them is the frickin' RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. Like the freaking RZA comes off the bench and he delivers a Galileo rap. It's so good. It's on Netflix. Oh, the prize drawings and stuff like that. Yeah, the grand prize is right here. Sorry. If someone wants to describe, if someone in chat wants to sort of give the lowdown on the grand prize and how that all works. So the RZA shows up and like he raps does a Galileo rap and stuff. So I wish I could share the music from it. It's got a great soundtrack, like just this wholesome story. The whole so again, there's all these like the wolves are their own clique, and the apes and the monkeys are their own clique, and like the primates I should say are their own clique, and like so all the animals have like taken over the surface and humans. And so Kipo, which is, a human from the underworld, ends up in the overworld. And like there is fight hand and it's got really good choreography. Like the fights with the mod frogs are pretty excellent. But like she solves virtually every problem by befriending everybody. It gets so obnoxious by season 2 there's a scene where like her best friend Wolf is like, Kipo, you don't have to be everyone's friend. And like she's like apologizing to the person she like leaves, and like the problem that they can't solve with friendship, and she just it's fantastic, and the soundtrack is excellent. The whole thing it goes through is like accessing people's like preconceived notions and the idea of like how daunting and screwed we all are, and the divisiveness of humanity via the lens of wolves and all the aminals, and it's a kid's cartoon, but it's
kids cartoon, yeah, which is where you get often all these lessons.
And like Undertale's kind of the same thing. Like the true playthrough of Undertale is the pacifist playthrough, right? Like it's difficult. It's hard because it's hard to be a better person and to use good to make the world a better place, right? Like it's not easy to do that. It's yeah. So yeah, Kipo and Age of the Wonder Beast. I've been honking this one for a little bit. I'll stop after a while, but it's really good. Whereas SpongeBob is not for kids, yeah, or Scooby Doo for that matter. Scooby Doo's really not for kids. like some of the early Looney Tunes were absolutely not for children, or Merry Melodies, depending. Like,
yeah. Well, back when they're Merry Melodies, it's very different time.
Well, I mean, at the time, you can remember animation was viewed as like a, emerging art, so they actually made it for adults. Like, look at what we can do with this, and then they found their market with children because they found out that they could, water the process down and make it crappy, and you'd sell it to kids. Where have we heard that before? Sorry. No,
everything.
Literally everything. Well, yeah, that's how we got on this whole debacle, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember watching some of those early Merry Melodies cartoons and like, we're dealing with Nazism here. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, they were propaganda. They were literally they like got commissioned to do propaganda pieces for the military. Yeah. So, well, I mean, obviously Nazis, suck, but no, they still got like, I don't know. Yeah,
that wasn't a defense of Nazis.
That
was more of a
correct.
This is what they did.
Yeah, correct. The duck and cover animation is a real thing. I saw it in the museum when I was in. I saw the 1950s, like the Red Scare stuff. They had a museum with like original like MREs and like the drums that you would get for your sanitation kit. They were filled with like water that you would drink, but then when you were done drinking the water, it became your toilet, and like all these like this like stuff from that era, and they played real television from that time period, and it's this touring art exhibit, and I saw it at when we were in North Dakota for my grandpa's funeral, and so that was actually pretty dope, just to like stand there and be like, I thought that all this media I had consumed was like exaggerating that stuff, like I thought that
Yeah.
I thought that like we were exaggerating and all. I'm like, no, here's like the literal thing from that time period, and like looking at it and how what to me looks like so overt and obvious. Yeah, Betty Boop was not for kids. Yeah, there's I get animation. Yeah, no, animation initially was targeted at adults, but the dev time and like how much effort and art and how expensive it was to make animation at the time was pricey making animation, and they found if you make it cheaper, take a longer time to do it, and so on, or if you make it a little bit cheaper, make it a little bit shorter, gear it towards children, you can save some money and make more. That happened in real time. There's a fantastic, I don't know I can't remember who does the video series. It's still going. The newest episode hasn't come out yet. It started like 4 years ago. Let me look it up. This is a really good like rabbit hole if you want to just consume history in just like through just a weird lens. Pretty like I like Harlan's hardcore history. Like I like stuff like that, and
it's fairly focused on one thing though.
yeah, super hyper specific. It's really interesting. Here, I'll find it here. It's a series. What one person does it? Yeah, here it is. Kaiser Beams is the one who does it. Of course, you do anime all the time. History of Looney Tunes. 4 of them so far. Oh my gosh, is there a new one? June 27th. Oh, I've got a new one. Oh, so good. My body is ready. 44-minute episodes. 4 of them. I haven't watched the most recent one. It starts out with a story of Bosco, the first Looney Tune, the Merry Melody, the Merry History of Looney Tunes is what the series is called. Then the rise of Porky Daffy and Termite Terrace, which was like this animation studio. The birth of Bugs Bunny, and the new one is the new stars and management of Warner Brother Cartoons, the Merry History of Looney Tunes. So like it touches on some adjacency with Disney. And just like super fascinating. Like they basically had these like turf wars of animation where like they're poaching each other's artists, and like these two go into business together to make like a company, and then like they're both great, but like Disney's kind of it's Tesla and Edison all over again with how Disney came to exist. Like one of them was like the legit skilled, interesting, good person at the thing, and Disney was just the one who's like, I know how to commercialize this the best.
Yeah, you're good at that, but I can sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
How often does that happen?
All the time. As far as I can tell, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I've just bookmarked that because that does actually look really interesting. Looney Tunes always has a big place in my heart.
Yeah,
because my granddad and I used to sit down and watch them together ever since I was a kid, right up until he sort of died a couple of years ago. Like he really loved them.
Really, that's kind of a cool little bond, right?
Yeah, so it's always fairly special. So I want to watch that. That's really cool.
Oh, so this is Tanlin says how you are with Looney Tunes. I'm not really like this with Looney Tunes personally. I just have this thing where I get curious about a topic and then I need to know about it. Or like, I've talked about, I often use the joke of crocheting. Like if you're like, this is the most interesting, best person at crocheting, I'm going to want to know about it. Like I need to know now suddenly. I have that ability, and I don't know. I'm someone, I don't know if it showed up in my feed, if I was playing what is it, Inky and the Dream Machine or whatever it was, or Inky Blinky, what the hell was it called? You know, the horror game. I mean, chat knows. Whatever it was, you know, I was playing that, and like my algorithms knew that I was playing something with like a weird throwback animation aesthetic, so they're like, "Hey, you should watch this YouTube video." I have no idea what it was, but in any case, um, I'm super happy I stumbled upon the series. Really interesting stuff.
It's just another rabbit hole for you to go down.
Yeah, it is. You know, I mean, yeah, the bad about Pepe Le Pew, yeah, retire the character. You know, probably like turning sexual assault into like a comedy routine. Maybe not the best. They could have maybe repurposed Pepe Le Pew into being something else, I guess, but I don't know. You know, nothing lasts forever. Everything changes, right? Like we hope that it's for the best. We hope that it's for the best in the end, but you don't know until you have the benefit of hindsight. So, let's see. Yeah, always keep an inquisitive mind. Man, I went for English. Lit. I wonder if there's just something about us. Do we have double secret stretch goals? We do have double secret stretch goals. Did we hit our?
No, not quite to 8.
The coalition needs to know. We have up to 10,000. So we have up to 10,000 if we need them, because we weren't getting caught last year unawares. I would love to hit 8,000, everybody. We've got half an hour through this block. I would love to hit 8,000 so we can unveil the next set. Vince, George Costanza, painting confirmed. Oh, that would be fantastic. No, 10K is 10K I pudding wrestle like Rocco or something like that? Like maybe it's I like the George Costanza painting even better, where Vince paints himself, paints a self-portrait, a sexy self-portrait. I like that even better. No, we've got stretch goals. What was that?
That would be hilarious.
I can't just unsolicited, like I can't just like do that. Oh, 10K. Sorry, shh. There is no 10K. There is no man behind the curtain. Forget what you've seen here. He has to be wearing his apron, and nothing but his apron, mind you.
Nothing but the apron.
Just the apron is in his sexy self-portrait. We wait until after 8K. Yeah. No, I can't just like rope. The stuff I did with Heywoah was like I talked to him before I put it on the list. You know, like I don't just, even though he's my friend, I didn't just be like, oh, here you go, you're doing all this shit. Like roping people into my insanity, not my bag, man.
I volunteered you to do this.
Oh, who's Paul's back. Good, just in time. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, and get more coffee.
Does Paul know he's back?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I'll be. Yes.
There is one question.
Yes.
If the old world has a Nagash model, are you buying it?
Ooh.
Obviously, without a question. Am I playing the old world? Like, no. Like, nah. Like, again, you know, I don't yuck people's yum. If you're gonna play the old world, do it. But it's, you know, I had my fun in the world that was. You know, I'm having my fun in Age of Sigmar, and I'm just kind of hoping that AOS doesn't, you know, that they don't, you know, they don't murder one of their kids to like feed the other type thing, you know? Like they think that they have enough sustainable growth to launch an entirely different game, you know, line. Okay, cool, do it. You know, but like another 2 years in Age of Sigmar, the growth rate AOS has been on versus 40K, like it's pacing, it's catching up to 40K, you know? Like the growth has been, it's unsustainable, quite frankly. So like I think that's part of the reason we see you know, we see the old world coming out is because they understand that they're like kind of unsustainable, and but I don't know, maybe again they've got they are a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They've done their research in some respects. Like, they're not dumb. Like, a lot of people, like this like through line that Games Workshop is somehow incompetent and just bumbling through it all is not good. Like, you kind of give them simultaneously too much credit, but then you also sort of lull yourself away from like understanding just how I think good they are at business. Like, they're very good at performing capitalism and good. I want to keep buying sweet models and playing a game that I really like. So I give them my money. And I'll keep doing that until I don't like it anymore. And then when I don't like it anymore, I'll go do other things. I don't feel bad about it. This is a business transaction. Make the stuff I like, take my money. Stop making the stuff I like, I keep my money and I give it to other stuff I like. Simple, easy. You know, I'll stay for my friends, sure. But like in a reduced capacity playing the stuff I have. You know, it's that simple. Doesn't need to be complicated. But
Hades' death god there going
just fire,
people
dropping the like the atom bombs here, like
keen to hear people stop whining about Tomb Kings.
what?
Yeah, but they will find something. Find something else. You're by doing the old world, they are attempting to lure in a group of players who did nothing but whine beforehand. This is my take.
Ooh, spicy. Let's go.
Oh,
Spice imminent. Let's go.
So no, I just wanted to preface it with this is my take on it, so that you know.
Yeah. Don't at me. At Clint.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you all just followed me on Twitter. I'm about to cop it.
Yeah, they're all about to unfollow you. Here you go. Go on.
But they're attempting to lure in a player base that didn't buy models in the first place and cause them to change the game, and they're now releasing a game tailored to that class of player again, hoping that they will come back. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason behind the 28 mil decision, so that people can use their old armies. They still haven't rebased for Age of Sigmar because they're off playing Ninth Age or maybe Kings. You know, they want those players back, but those players didn't spend money and
well, they
whinge anyway.
I love Tomb King Tristan. He's my boy. There are a lot of people that I sincerely get, respect, and understand for their feeling of betrayal with the world that was, because they were buying their models, they were playing the game, they were doing it the right way. My heart truly goes out to those people. But the world that was got blowed up because there were entire websites making fun of people for buying Warhammer models and telling them how to get cheaper, better models. Like, 3D printing was supposed to be the death knell of AOS and hasn't killed it. Why? Because the models are great. And, like, they've done a lot of work in luring in the customer base into this parasocial relationship they have going on right now, honestly. Like, they've done that to make sure that happens. You know, you might as well call it the Warhammer way, like this whole culture they've started to develop since they switched over to Round Bottom or Round Tree or whatever his name is, right? Like, but the culture of Warhammer fantasy battle leading into the end times was one of it was a toxic relationship between the consumer base and the company. And that's why it died. It's not like they knew that they had to do something dramatic if they wanted to stay in the fantasy mini business at all, right? They knew it. Because otherwise it was just going to be like, we have 40K now, and we give up market share for fantasy minis to whoever, right? They knew that was a reality they were facing. And they made a decision, blow up the world that was, make something new. They basically V for Vendetta that shit, right? Like, blew up the world that was, the Parliament building, and then said, Evie, you take over, paint the blank canvas anew. Because the hand that destroys should not be the hand that creates. Bow now. And yeah, I think that is a take you can have, is that they're trying to court the people who left their game. I think that you can have that take, and I think that's a solid take. I think they're doing it for the Warhammer, the total Warhammer crowd. I think they see an opportunity to cater a younger, newer fan base, not the older fan base. I think they see the bridge between people wanting to play people who play Total Warhammer. Half their money comes from their digital IP. Half of it comes from Dawn of War and Total Warhammer. Half of everything they make in a year comes from that. It's a huge chunk. There are people though who play only their digital products. They play Dawn of War and they're like, "Oh, cool, I can go play this thing that looks, feels, tastes, passes all the tests to say this is Dawn of War, but on the tabletop." There isn't as easy an inlet from Total Warhammer into Age of Sigmar. If someone comes over here and they say, "Man, I really like playing, Lizardmen," you can go, "Okay, Seraphon," right? Like, you can kind of, right? If they say, "I really like playing Tomb Kings," you can go, like, "There's kind of Ossiarch Bone Reapers," right? Like, but if they just want Cetra, you're not going to, you can 50-50 sell them on whether or not Catacross is Cetra or not, right? Like, one of Luke's groups, one of Cinderfall Gaming groups, the OBR one, like, I watched the questions of why people play this army to join the group, and I know it's confirmation bias, but and it's also from like a narrow sample size, but like most of the people, or about half the people say like they're playing it because Tomb Kings, like, and I'm like, cool. So for some people it passes the smell test. For Tristan, I know you get some adamant like TK players in the UK, like it doesn't, and I actually agree. I actually side with Tristan and them. Is like, for me it doesn't pass the smell check. Spiritually, yeah, they started with Tomb Kings. They ended on Z though. They didn't go A, B, C. They went all the way through the alphabet until they landed on something else. But in a broad stroke way, yeah, like I can see they've got catapults, they've got this and that and the other thing. Sorry.
You do wonder though, like, by the time the Old World's out, they'll have finished the Dawn of War, the Total War series, because it's coming out at the end of this year, isn't it? Number 3.
Yeah, I mean,
and Old World's still a couple of years away. So will there be that market to capitalize on? Should they, if that was the reason, they should have started the Old World when the first game came out, and that's quite some time ago.
Yeah, but they are, pushing that boulder down the hill takes a bunch of energy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's a big corporation, so like
moving stuff down the pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah, things roll slowly.
Yeah, and are they betting on it? Yeah, cool. Is like, do they know that like there's going to be another Total Warhammer something or other? Do they know that there's a next IP for some old world video game to capitalize on? They know their IP stuff. They know what's in circulation right now and in development, in pre-development. They understand. They know. It's their IP. They sell it. They sell it on purpose. They're actually one of the most. Hilariously, they were once upon a time the most stringent with their IP selling it. Now they'll like sell it to like anyone with a mobile app. Like, they don't care. Like, yeah, make it, because they know it's just like, if you crap out like a bad game, it's just good advertising anyway. Which is it's such a weird relationship they have with their IP and digital property. It's so weird. It seems like they have like what used to be a really focused, careful, and now it's like a shotgun blast. Like, come to me with a good pitch. Oh yeah, you can buy this, because they make their money. Like, they make their money selling it to you, and then they catch some of the residuals. Like, yeah, go ahead. Make a bad game.
It's working for them.
Yeah, make a bad game. Like, the image of a Space Marine alone sells people on 40K. Just, here's a Space Marine. Here's a Space Marine in a game. It doesn't matter that you play the mobile game or not. You go, "That's a sweet thing," and you're like, if you have an inkling at all or some segue into tabletop gaming, they got you. They're very good. I mean, it's their business model. They're new players. So, and this isn't a cynical take. Of course. What else would you do? Everything from cigarettes to Disney. Like, that's what you do. That's what it means to be successful. You have to grow your base, or you die. Right? Like, that's the whole thing.
Or you fail at capitalism.
Yeah, you have failed at capitalism. You have not had infinite growth. You have failed at capitalism. Because if you're not growing infinitely, someone else will buy you out, and they'll grow infinitely with all your hard work.
Yeah.
Locke's Master has redeemed 1,000 RDP to remind everyone, chat gang ain't nothing to mess with. You can talk. I'm going to catch up with chat here.
Jacko might know, but does Total Warhammer 3 deal with the end times, or is that perhaps this, a fourth game or the capstone or something like that to keep that franchise around long enough to capture the market that you're sort of talking about, the crossover? Because I feel like, yeah, Dawn of War did a lot for 40k. I know plenty of people who started 40k after
Chaos
playing Dawn
Realms,
of
it
War.
seems.
So,
Tonlin says that Chaos Realms is where it seems to be the direction.
yeah, no, but some of the units are from end times. Yeah, that's fair enough. You're probably going to have some bleed through.
Yeah. No, I mean that would be the ultimate irony, though, is if the Total Warhammer, Totalist Warhammer, the next line of games comes out, like the most total Warhammer, and they do an endline plot and blow up their game franchise and switch over to doing AOS right as right as the old world comes out. That would be hilarious.
AOS Total War would be weird. I don't know how that would work.
It'd be like Warcraft 3. It would actually be pretty fantastic.
Okay, righto.
like, like it would just be Warcraft 3. It would be Planescape Torment and Warcraft 3. It would actually be glorious. It would be one of the best things.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I told you, Games Workshop, hire me as your ideas man, as the creative director, the game directive, the director, the directive head. Give me a team of people to develop an AOS RTS. You will not be disappointed. I will make you money. Because that's my pitch. What if Warcraft 3 and Planescape Torment, yeah, right? That, yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want. That's what the Grognar, that's what all of us, old beards want. That's all we want. And the kids, we got them because they like Total Warhammer, and I just have to be like, you like Total Warhammer. Now it gets more epic. And just show a bunch of flash and things exploding. Got him. Got him. Have an edgelord main character take up screen time. Nailed it. I am tuned into the kids.
I'm just picturing you at the end of a boardroom table, just going,
yeah.
And then we're all going, please leave.
I'll do it in a black turtleneck too if it helps sell it. I'll do the black turtleneck and skinny jeans. Jabberwocky, 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 Jabberwocky. If you've seen Better Off Ted.
No.
All right, how we doing? How are you, Meph? They'd have to. Yeah, they could pay me $20,000 a year. That's less than half what I make right now. I'd do it to be. I'd do it to work for my dream company. Come on, they're betting on it.
That's how it works.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna totally go get the coffee now that I've dropped some hot takes and stuff. I'll be right back, everybody.
Good. Now we have to carry through. Righto. Cool. He's taking the headphones off so we can just, talk about whatever we want.
We can track him if we really wanted to. No, I'm one of those people that there's a reason why we had 150,000 books for Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition, because that's how they tried to grow their stuff rather than trying to get new people in, and they failed.
It was like that with Third too. I remember pretty much every week where I'd go down to my local store and there would be a new supplement.
It just gets to the point where how much very extra specialized stuff can you do and expect people to buy it? And
well, Wizards found their answer out, so I'm sure G-Dub will. Howdy, Rocco. Yeah, there's still Aussies here for a little while. We're coming to you from the future. It's now Monday here in the future. So, have to question the Aussies here, though. I've noticed a distinct lack of their favorite word. I guess they can clean it up from time to time. I don't want to guess what you think our favorite word is, but I don't swear very much, Tanlin, so I'm probably a disappointment. I don't drink lots of beer and I don't swear lots, so I'm sorry. disappointing Australian.
No, that makes it. Everybody has their own little quirks. What makes you unique?
Wow.
I try not to swear, mostly because I have a lot of kids, but the other part of it is because I work with people that have guns and a place to lock you up.
Right. Okay. So swearing's bad. Yeah. I don't swear around my kids either. An Australian that isn't a stereotype. I'm not typical Australian. I'm fairly stereotypical nerd though. Quite large. Wear glasses normally when I'm painting. And have nerdy hobbies. So full on nerd. And I see that the C word is in the chat quite a bit there, so I don't need to say it anyway. So, oh dear. Righto. Someone's just looking through
I can't
some of the chat.
see the chat.
You can't see the chat?
Nope.
Right, I've got it up. I've got it like 50-50.
It is on my TV,
Yep.
which is behind me. And in letters I can't see because I'm old and blind.
Right, fair enough. There's just some swearing, and that's about it. Yeah, Rocco talking about how many guns are near you, etc., etc. Righto, so nothing exciting in the chat.
Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guns in my bedroom. 2 guns in the room I'm in. I live in Texas.
Like, what? We were talking about stereotypes before. I'm not even going to touch that. Like, oh dear. Meph's in the chat there. I'm sure he's watching. What's the next faction you'd like to see? There we go.
Next faction I would like to see, believe it or not, is a Dawnbringer Crusade. I
Like,
have no intention of buying it or selling it or painting it, but a unified Dawnbringer Crusade, not as a part of a city's army, but when you look at the heroes for Cursed City, you see some of these very unique people. And I think to myself, what would an entire army of this woman with a griffin on her, shoulders, what would an entire army of that look like?
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So it's not cities, but it's like an extension of cities where it's like these are the people who are going out and participating in these crusades. So you get just that mix, but a proper mix rather than what cities is. I think it was talked about a bit earlier.
The thing I don't want to see in something like a Dawnbringer Crusade is an add-on to Cities of Sigmar. Oh yeah, you can go on this crusade too.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you can have this, and you can go on the. No, I want to see an actual Dawnbringer Crusade book where they're saying, okay, so this is a unit of your two-handed weapon specialists that Vince was talking. I want to see that, but I don't want it to just be another city's army where you're using hammerers or what have you. I want to see new models, new everything. And again, right now, I'm not planning on painting anything like that. But you come up with sweet enough models, and I might.
That's the thing, right? You don't know you want to buy them and paint them until you see them, and you're like, okay, right, that was better than whatever I had in my mind, and you're like, I have to buy them now. I have to have them. They're too good. Yeah, you don't know you want them until you see them.
Some of my favorite models from way, way back when, for the White Lions. I loved those models. I loved having the elves with the big fur cloaks. Just want to see the AOSified version of those.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That kind of, yeah, that taken to not just elves, but like humans and stuff. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, just like a huntsman unit or something like that. But it's made up
I
of.
call her Karen. She is. I know she's got another name. I've painted her once. I'll probably end up painting her again. But in the Cursed City box, there's a armored person that I've just called Karen. She's got that.
Oh yeah, Imelda Braskov, I think her name is.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
she's
just
got
want
that haircut.
a whole army like that,
Yeah.
or at least a unit of of these knights, foot knights, with their, they can have two-handed weapons. They could have shields and one-handed weapons. It doesn't matter. I just, that aesthetic where she is very unique, but you can see her as part of a bigger unit.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where their like their design goes when they're making these like one-offs. They're designing. I reckon they probably design a couple of models, just sketches and stuff like that around. Okay, well, this is the feel of these Ulfin Khan free people. Because what was it called before Ulfin Khan? It had a name. So it was the city it was before Cursed City happened, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is what these people look like, and she's got that armor and the griffin and the pelt kind of thing happening. And I imagine that, there's some sketches living in GDub headquarters of what her fellow soldiers would look like, or, all these free people. It would be fantastic to see that realized, in some plastics, for sure. And we've got those cool, that cool artwork from the core book from last edition. All these people who live in the realms. That needs expanding.
And to my mind, the perfect way to show that is with a, because you're not gonna do that with a Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar is pretty much established as this is where all the old ones sit.
Yeah.
So do it with that. You need to do it with something like a Dawnbringer Crusade.
5-minute warning for the awesome Dying to Batik, one of a kind, hand painted, hand dyed Meph shirts, I suppose you could call them. Thank you so much there, Tyrant, for the reminder. One $5 donation goes a long way for helping the cause of mental health, and you possibly win one of these two shirts. So do that. I'm with the silent people, but I think that there is you really need to work hard at making them not Tyranids, army. Like, I like the bug people idea, like the Sithun, ideally like a Kha'Zix style race from League of Legends, something along those lines where it's more anthropomorphic and expressive and over the top and weird. Like, don't just release Starship Trooper bugs, but kind of different. Like, go take it to 11. Go weird with it. Like, I know what a regular ass bug looks like. I want to know what a bug hammered by like panoptic, primordial magical energies that are the essence of Gur look like. Like.
The thing though, like GW know how to push the boat out on their releases. They, it wouldn't, I don't think, be Tyranids in AOS. That's probably why it's not been done.
Yeah. No, I mean they can still have the massive hives and like queen bugs and be very bugly. But like if you like we were talking about rifts the other day. Do I have a picture of some Zytekicks here? I have Zytekicks. Yeah, invasion. Um, like like Zytekicks are like super gnarly, and if I show you a picture of them, they're not. You don't necessarily read Tyrannid, right? This is a Zytekick warrior or whatever.
No,
Like
no,
you don't read that as Tyrannid, do you?
no, you don't.
Or like
It's definitely different.
yeah, like a civilization of something like this would be super awesome. Like that's like you give me the silent people like this. Cover art's not the best art, but like like they've got their queen there and hive warriors around it. Like Zytekicks actually like have bioenergy guns and stuff because that's just a thing that bugs do apparently. You know, like I just something along those lines I think would be really sweet. Not the necessarily the biggest fan of the art, but like the style is there. Like 6-armed, 2-legged, winged species. You can do something that is bug-like but doesn't read. Here's actually a decent picture of the queen, but doesn't read like Tyrannids.
Yeah.
So like I that's what I want. I want something a little bit like more anthropomorphic, kind of crazy, over the top. Lives in the mortal realms. You still have that like realm shaper vibe, but that's
Yeah, like,
if I were king of Age of Sigmar for a day, that's what I would aspire toward.
I feel like that if they were to do something like that, they would definitely go down that path rather than just Tyranids.
This might be one of the most Rifts pictures in the universe. A dragon burning Zytekicks whilst dueling with a wizard and a cyber knight. Like he's wearing power armor and wielding a sword. Fucking Rifts.
It checks out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, but where's the glitter boy or Sims?
On the next page, I just skipped past it. Yeah. Like Zytekick with its little biogun doohickey spear. Like again, like just hit me with. I like the idea of the silent people being in this game. I really do. I'd love to see it. It'd be even crazier if they ended up being Order, right? Like Order bugs. I know Order gets all the new shit, so like we don't want to see more Order stuff. I'd love to see them as Destruction, but like Builders and Destruction, I have a hard time reconciling that.
You'd have to add some nuance into Destruction to get away with that.
Right.
Because they don't have a civilization as such. Maybe Gloomspite is closest to that. Right. But yeah, they don't have an ordered civilization in that way. So you'd have to add some nuance into Destruction to get away with that. And I don't trust GDub on that, unfortunately.
Well, like I mean, the lore is an excuse to get away with the models, right? Like it's nothing against it, nothing wrong with it. But like, like for whom the bell tolls, this is not. This is not Dante's Inferno. This is some great allegory, and it's just not written on that level, and it's not supposed to be.
No.
And again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like broad stroke stories are great. Telling me a story in broad strokes and then entertaining me along the way. It's why I like the media I like. I enjoy that.
Because they destroy to build upon the ruins of their enemies. Right. Okay.
All
that's
right.
Why
No,
fit in
I got it.
Destruction.
No, you sold me.
Yeah. I think
I'm actually surprised that you didn't say you wanted to see one of the lands of death, because in Shaiish we know that there are settlements of mortals that worship Nagash and follow Nagash's teachings and are all about Nagash. Why do we not have a death army that is full of these mortals that fight alongside the vampire or what have you?
Well, I want my shy-ish City of Sigmar too, if that's what you're talking about. Of course I want this.
Well, there's
But it wouldn't be City of Sigmar because Sigmar is the ultimate thief.
That, you know, in the Nagash novel, which is not really about Nagash, it's about a like a clanswoman, and they traditionally fight alongside their ancestors and stuff like that, and that kind of style of society is something that they haven't explored, and you couldn't do it in cities. It's not set up that way. They're almost like marauders or something like that have death scattered amongst them. So yeah, it's something that they haven't explored, and I don't know if they want to. I don't know. But I think the other death factions they've reached the limit on as far as the amount of death factions that they have at the moment and the various aspects of death. I'm sure there's stuff that they could mine, but yeah, you're right though. That would be pretty sweet. Was it Shaish Hakuron with 1 in 4?
So we're gonna go ahead and do the
Reapers on Nighthaunt SBJ.
So
vampires.
Vampires. So 1, 2.
Are you doing the draw?
I am doing the draw for the first shirt. Let's actually clarify which shirt I'm going to draw first for simplicity's sake. Let's do the one Snitbag did. So we got the Meph logo here. Where's my RNG thing? There it is. Right, we've established how many to roll for. There we go. Thompson Boo. You win the first shirt.
Awesome. It's not the Soulblight one though, is it? It's the
Meph logo. Meph logo.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And then we got to just roll the same number again and see who we get this time. Shanzor! Oh, baby! Oh, I am going to have to ship something to Australia. Damn it.
That's expensive.
$100 was how much it cost me to ship one box to Australia last Rantathon. $100.
Time travel is hard, though. You got to ship it into the future.
It's true. Time travel is hard. I do that's how much it costs to ship something into the future. Apparently,
they have to put it on an accelerator and spin it fast enough that they can shoot it forward in time.
All right.
No, don't worry. It's expensive to send stuff to you guys too.
Yeah, send it back in time.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. Just let it sit somewhere for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I get no, touche, you're not wrong. Yeah, thank you. You did me a service, Hades. I don't mind. It's for a great cause. I mentioned before. I don't know if I mentioned it in the late AM. I will be donating out of my personal family budget. I've worked all this overtime. I'm gonna spend that money. Damn it. A lot of people have helped out, supported me from the Upside Down, from the UK and stuff like that. People are donating from across the world, from Belgium to Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, like everyone's chipping in. I'm donating to a few like international charities. I'll share those receipts just for transparency's sake and not to like brag like, yo, look at how charitable I am. On Twitter after the marathon. Basically, this is my pay cycle. So this coming Thursday, I'll get paid. I have to tap into my own funds. We budget things pretty strictly. Like basically, the paycheck comes in, all the bills get budgeted out, and then whatever's left over, that is going to go and help pay some shipping costs, and that's what I will be donating to some of these funds. The Black Dog Institute is what I will be donating to on behalf of. I have 3 blocks, so I'm going to do the increment I was going to donate 3 times. For the 3 different Australian guests, I'm going to do similar to for the UK for Samaritans. And I'm also going to, on behalf, just for Ian, there's an autism charity I found in England. I'm going to go ahead and donate to that as well because, whilst I wouldn't like say it is, mental health or a mental illness, it is related. That sort of like those invisible disorders, right? That like we all kind of cope with and go through. So, and I really want to, like. I really wanted to highlight this stream, and I haven't done the best job of it, is talking about caregivers of those with mental illness or mental health issues, like your family members, your friends, like people who step up when you're not feeling great or when there's just something a little off that day, or yeah, you do have depression, and you sit there and you're like, man, am I a burden on everyone around me because I'm depressed today, and then your friends step up and they're like, yo, bro, like, no, you're not a burden. We got you. Well, those people that do that, it takes effort. It takes, it's those people are awesome too. And so I just want to highlight them a little bit and remind you that mental health it's a universal struggle. The charity's Mental Health America, but it is a universal struggle. We are all, I think, hopefully the lesson my country learned from it and the lesson other countries know is the importance of mental health coming out of 2020. If that's what we took away as a society, it's pretty dope, knowing that you need to take care of your mind more than ever before, that you need to have those quiet moments, that you need to have that support structure, that you need to be okay with talking to people when you get into the dark place, like, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be some of these overt stories that have been told throughout. It can just be you're not feeling okay, and to be okay with not feeling okay that's the dream. That's the goal for me. So, I just want to thank everybody. Clint, Soren, the Mad Lad. I did the Curse City drawing, didn't I? Yeah, that was a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
DJ Push Start. We've hit some. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you so much. I'll hide this block. I'll hide this. Where is it? Go away, camera. Boom. And it's doctor block time. Time to rock the block. Do you think the Roccos realized that like their block was a pun? It was the Rocco Blocko, which is from the Blood Bowl game. You're welcome. I tell you the joke a whole day later, everybody. You're welcome. We did it. We made a dad joke with one of my entire 2-hour stream blocks for one inside joke about Blood Bowl. We did it. We got there. All right. Let's go ahead and check back in on the Tiltify page overview. Creeping up on that 8K. Creeping. We creeping.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for having me on. I'm going to go to bed. It is after 1 a.m. So thanks for having me on, Meph, and I'll catch you around.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And again, Herald's a War podcast. I shared the link earlier. Check it out. Again, like there's, as far as forces of positivity that you need to get in your life, Clint's got a great capacity for compassion and a love for the game that runs deep, and I'm all about the passion, so check that out. And if you want to know why Manfred is best, this is the guy to go to.
Absolutely. See ya.
Yeah, take care, man. Take care.